The track you're hearing is Salt. Hang on, I need to look at the name. Somebody has a very weird name. Salt to Salt, yeah. Back to Life, However Do You Want Me, the Caron. It's a very interesting track because it's so niche that I don't even remember when I last heard it. It has to have been at least like 10 or 15 years. It's so long ago now. But even then, it's probably just before that as well. Like, speaking early 2000s, and I only really remember this track from, I think, a few adverts. And on the radio, it is like never played. Which is sad, because it's actually a decent track, but having said that, it is kind of hip-hop, and I don't know if they play like hip-hop on the radio. At least to me it sounded hip-hop, but a bit like a cross between hip-hop and R&B, rather than blues, obviously. But yeah, it's a really clever track in that perspective, from that perspective, but I really like it. It's so good. The lyrics in itself, I don't really pay much attention to, but it's kind of interesting. But the instrumental especially is just amazing. Like when the piano comes in, I think it's like something like that. It's got that vibe to it. But it goes between the two chords, I think, and then there's that synth bit which is so interesting. I'm learning guitar as well, so it's like this sort of thing. And it goes into like a slidey bit. It's very interesting. Like, not really many tracks like that, especially using, like, I think it's violin, if I'm not mistaken. It might be viola actually, because it's not too high of a range. I know viola's probably like a few whole steps below violin, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know my instruments that well actually, so going off a whim there. It's so interesting. That's part of the reason I love this track too. I just love the vibe as well, it's just different. Again, a lot of these tracks I feel like from these radio stations, they can be like, I don't know what to call them. They've got the R&B vibe, like a lot of a few blues songs are quite like this as well. Sort of similar sort of key and stuff, and maybe there's a tone shift. Although the blues is pitch shift, not tone shift. Yeah. Or was it frequency tuning? Actually, I might be thinking of frequency tuning, where they change it by a few hertz. Yeah, I definitely like this track. It's definitely, maybe consider listening to that, maybe. Because I like hip-hop, believe it or not. People might be surprised by that. But I actually quite like hip-hop from what I've heard so far. I've heard a few on Roxy Plus, and so I think that's a shit platform. I've heard a bit on like Sips' live streams when he used to stream music. But then often one of the tracks I heard was She Keeps Passing Me By the Far Side, which is such a weird track. It's like a sort of out of tune or out of key bass line throughout the entire thing. It's got like this interesting sort of keyboard sound going on. And when it gets into the saxophone bit, it's like jazzy. It's like, what the hell? Well, it's extremely creative, and I just love to listen to a lot of this stuff. It actually sounds really good, and definitely might be my gateway into just the hip-hop genre in general, because I'm definitely very interested in it. It's one of those things you hear about and then you just don't really hear any music related to it, and this might be one of the first songs I've ever heard that's actually hip-hop. Yeah, anyway, let's move on to the first topic. Well, this is exciting. It turns out one of the issues of my recordings was actually my guitar. This thing. The Unsplash guitar. I'm actually going to say what brand or one it is, but it's weird. Because I think there is something wrong with the electronics in that, and you know, it's a very nice guitar. I'm not going to lie. It's the nicest one to look at. Probably the nicest one I've ever had, until obviously get my Scurvis in. It sounds like I'm describing a health issue when I say Scurvis in. But no, literally, I think the issue, as I discovered as I'm recording music now again, and I've tried to make a track. Basically, I've managed to get out the foundation of it. So I've got the chord shape and stuff, and I've even learnt some of the scale already, which is quite a lot of progress compared to a lot of what I used to do, which is bizarre. But I'm able to make something, and I've figured out a strategy, finally. I can record it in one take, but not in that way. So you might think, like, oh, how the fuck are you going to do that one take? Like, what? Basically, my strategy is to duplicate the track or somehow loop it in the full studio. I don't know if there's a way to do that actually. I'll look out the studio looping. I'll look at it later because I don't have time. But I'll basically do that and record each take for, say, the leads, because I'm working on the leads first. I did the rhythm and then I'm doing the lead. We're going to have to find a way to open it as well, and I think I know the sort of thing I want to start with, because I was trying to make a Iron Maiden track at first, but I realised I don't really want to, just in case. I don't really want to get on the bad side of like the band or anything, and so I'd rather just use a template and get inspiration from elsewhere. So I found a different metal band, a power metal one for that matter, to take inspiration from, and it turns out I can shred. I didn't even know I could do that. Don't know what happened, what changed, but somehow I just suddenly gained the ability. But yeah, I'm literally learning this now, and it's weird because I started recording with, this is a point, my Ormsby X guitar, and it sounds so much different. Like, what the fuck? How? Are you kidding me? All this time it was to do with the guitar itself? And people told me, like, get a setup, get a thingy record, like an audio interface and shit. But they neglected the fact that guitar pickups have a very big impact on it. And when I get my scurvers in, and also the chord guitar, it gives me a chance to at least record it with different instruments. And I think rather when I get the A string, there's a lot of opportunities to record the rhythms on there. And then the leads can be recorded on the scurvers. Because the scurvers is a very special guitar. It's made, or designed by me, not made by me. If it was, then fuck, there'll be a lot of changes on that. It's not to say the guitar isn't perfect, it's just, it's really good. But there are guitar problems that shouldn't be there, let's say. It's just from a personal thing. I don't know what to call it, POV, or experience even. A personal experience is probably the better way to describe it. But yeah, it turns out the guitars are different, the pickups, and because I knew the pickups in this X guitar is actually really good. I think they're called Hot Rods, but they're Ormsby's own. What was it, Ice? It's either Hot Rod or Ice. I can't remember the name of them. But they're really good. It's the best pickups I've ever had. Full stop. There's no contest with them. Because even then, before that, it would have been the the Ibanez Iron Label. I had two types of iron labels, and there's the black one I had, which had EMG pickups. And they were not bad. I noticed the EMGs were a bit more generous with its cleaner tone. But not as good with distortion, sadly, but it still works pretty well. But yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to the aspect of recording. I even accidentally played sort of in line with that. I can't remember the track I played actually now. But I started playing, like jamming along with the music, and the track sort of came on like, oh, I can't remember, it's a game soundtrack, I think. I was like playing that perfectly, I think. Oh, it might have been Xenoblade actually, because that's sort of the template I'm using. Not 100% using it. It's going to be having an impact on this, I think. I think it will be sort of different. Yeah, crazy. The only thing I will say is I didn't find any difference in the delay, because there's still a major delay. I noticed when I started playing, it sort of like records before, which is weird. not a timing issue, it just plays before for some reason. So I'm still having to do cuts, which is really annoying. It's sort of the part I want to get rid of. Yeah, to be able to make each part, you know, doing it on the loop and stuff, and then even then I could just cut it and then put it on the next track as well, so I could just do it twice. That saves resources, I think, and saves time and energy. And then I could still keep the stuff that I get right as well, so it allows me to splice it. And even then I could just do like corrections and then continue after. There's different things to figure out. Again, I'm still pretty new to recording, and I did try before, like, what was it? Yeah, when I was doing the original music last year, when I previously had tried this, and yeah, I was using the Ormsby guitar for that, the Shark one, I mean. But yeah, I was still learning from that, and I think I've got it down a bit, and I'm also learning to record before the actual track comes in, so it can work. I just hope there's a way to easily cut it and delete. I swear, actually no, Symphonette had a video on that, a short video actually. It's like a quick way to cut it and delete it. I can't remember how you do that now. It's quite a while ago. It's one of the most useful tools for audio stuff. But yeah, I just wanted to update people on that. I think it's interesting. It's very noticeable for a guitar, and I was thinking before that maybe I'm not ever gonna be able to play, but actually I can. And I also did the, what I call the God chord. Because that's one of the things I discovered in my cover of the Dr. Wily's Console 2. My guitar here, it's got a spider on it. It's on the ground at the moment, because I'm planning to clean it up and get rid of it. I've said that. Yeah, I think I could do this sort of God chord thing. Yeah, sort of like that. It's weird, it's sort of like, it's got power chord and it's got this. So it's like a harmony bit. I'm not sure I'm going to do like the niche bit of like spreading it. I can't really lay a finger there. There's a problem there, but I don't know. Just shorten it for the other chords. There is a middle finger for that. I don't know. I'll figure it out somehow. The only problem with recording, I think, would be the harmony bits. Sort of the part I don't really look forward to in at least metal covers. It's just making the harmony bits on the rhythms is difficult, because in the VST it's just like a magical thing that just plays it for you, obviously. But it doesn't exactly show you how to play it properly in the way that I would initially play it. Because it's not like black metal chords where you just hold your index finger across the whole fret. It doesn't really work like that. For some reason, VST, however. But you have to somehow play it like before that. So I'm guessing just dual tracks or something, which actually I need to add that. Yeah, it's weird. Dual tracks, harmony included. It's a bit like 4/1s, I think. Yeah, the delays, did I talk about that? There is still a delay, which is frustrating. It still creates problems for me, it's just not great. So I'm hoping the audio interface would solve that problem. If it doesn't, I'll be very cross, because it shouldn't be like that. It's a bit bullshit, really. Yeah, everyone touts that audio interfaces are amazing and shit, but are they? The only thing I can see a difference in is probably the cables, and I would compare it actually. I would do sort of my cover. I think I'll try the Rocksmith cable first and try and make a bit of the cover with that, like a section of it. Like the best section, I think, actually. I do have the tab for it as well, so it'd be interesting. There are like harmony bits on it, as I've said before. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see that. See the difference between the two. Obviously the same guitar, the same tuning. But it's a comparison worth doing, because I think people might mistake themselves in thinking like, oh, well, you know, it's a guitar cable, it does its job, doesn't it? Not exactly. You need something to process it, and I think amplify it, or maybe not. It depends. The drawback with the Rocksmith cable is it actually comes with its own sort of amplifier. So it's not exactly good for clean recordings or anything. Just sort of the problem I've had over the years as well. Which is not surprising, although the cleans do turn out fine whenever I do them. Just even now actually, with the other guitar I've tested it briefly. It just works better. But yeah, I don't really have anything else to add. Just thought it was very interesting to look at. It is an experience for sure, testing it all out and whatever, trying to get it to work, and yeah. Anyway, I don't have anything else to add, so shall move on. I'm watching some of the Midwest safety videos. Sort of want to binge of them for some reason. Not the best thing to watch at night, admittedly. It's quite annoying actually, because I do get intrusive thoughts, and so I've got dying in that situation, stuff like that. But it is kind of a very real thing really, because why would you even go that far? Obviously, I'm not American. I wouldn't ever want to live in America, to be honest, unless nuclear war breaks out. But I just think that there is no point in doing all this for what? Like protecting like your drugs, protecting your guns, protecting your even just really horrible crimes. Like, what's the fucking point? The fact people go as far as to literally open fire on police officers is just absolutely stupid. It's really bad. It's seriously bad. And I just really don't know like what the point is. Again, you're firing at officers. If you miss, you're fucked. But even then, you'll get tracked down because you're already on video. So you have to be like completely brain dead to literally think it works. And it just gets crazier, I think, because they even go as far as to just do a chase and then literally hold up somewhere in some cases. Sorry, just that, yeah. But then they obviously meet their maker at the end because they fucking fired too much. Literally attempted to murder police officers. Like the idiots they are. Thinking they could get away from it. Like, you have to remember these people are not only trained in firearms, the police officers obviously, but also wearing armour. So again, this just becomes really fucking ridiculous. There is no amount of drug trafficking that's worth this, or even in the darker side of human trafficking, it's worth that. Just no fucking point. Just take the L, go to life in prison, come out a changed person. Problem solved. I mean, they'll be hard to get a job, but again, that's all for you to figure out, and even then you can sort of develop a skill on that. So yeah, again, all this just leads me to thinking that it's just really bad. Trying to think, is there anything else to say with this? I think sometimes people get the wrong idea or impression with some of the like things that happen here. Like, some people are released from prison, and I get that being annoying because it literally is annoying. I think when people have such mental health or mental illnesses, issues and stuff, there are places where they just shouldn't be on the street or even, out there, or even working. It's just even a part of society. One of the things I have to admit myself, being somewhat mentally ill, I've got OCD, anxiety, on the autism spectrum, ADHD, among other issues. But I know that I'm not compatible with society, so I don't really go out into society. There's no fucking point. You just have to admit that you can't do anything in your own current life, and the only thing you can do is at least stay indoors and stick to the internet. That's literally all I can do. There isn't anything else for me out there. Otherwise it's just me asking for assisted suicide. Because that's the only option. There is no other way. So yeah. Again, a lot of this shit just not worth it. I don't really think there's anything else to add to that. So yeah, let's move on. So I saw this very confusing sort of post or short from Gary Economics. It's a review? Well, no, it's showcasing a bit of an interview he had, or rather thing. It was on Good Morning Britain, I think, and it was Piers Morgan. Yikes. And as usual, Piers Morgan does his usual shit, but I think he's got a new tactic now, which is to claim that people who go on there are making or rather playing the victim card. And I think he even called middle class and working class people and government a bunch of like awful people, which I find very telling. Although he might have been referring to billionaires, and I can't be too sure, but given his position, I have a feeling it isn't about billionaires. It's just the impression I get, and that's also how bad of a character he is. That really demonstrates the problem here, doesn't it? Like, why else? Like, it just makes no fucking sense. But anyway, I just find it really bad that he's painting Gary Economics as a victim here for some reason, as in that's a bad thing. Why though? The thing is, everyone besides Gary, who's in a terrible economic situation at the moment, is 100% a victim. What the fuck are you on about? It shows that Piers has never fucking worked a day in his life, and has never been in a situation like ours. So it's go Irish though. Not that Irish. But literally this is a problem. People like this who just undermine everything, completely belittle everyone as well, as he's usually done, just creates problems for every fucking person in the world. It's just absolutely ridiculous. What the hell? It's absolutely absurd. Because we can't be having this, in all honesty. I think this shit is just bullshit. Like, I don't know what to add here. Saying that everyone who's claiming to be a victim is like in the wrong somehow, playing the victim card, when yeah, like, people are victims of this economic crisis, you fucking moron. Have you ever worked? That's my question. You should get rid of all your assets and try and work for a living, and never have contact with obviously anyone that can give you assets, and then see how it's like, and then you'll see. But it's just absolutely fucking ridiculous. Just don't understand a lot of this shit sometimes, especially with Piers Morgan, who in my opinion should just be taken off the air. He has no benefit to society, he has nothing to add, he's just there to create arguments and defend a agenda. Well, he's obviously corrupt by that virtue as well. Before anyone says like slander, you could go to previous interviews. You see plenty of moments where he's done this. He's done it to vegans, he's done it to environmentalists as well, he's done it to a lot of different things. A lot of different people for that matter. So again, this is pretty much a confirmation that he's just not a nice person, and not even the right person to have for the job here, which is supposedly an interview sort of thing, or panel person thing. I don't know what to call it actually. Can't remember the name, if there was one. This is why it's so ridiculous. So yeah, I think people need to understand that. So yeah, I don't really know what else to add, to be honest. I think that's really that. Just extremely annoyed by this sort of thing. It really does not make sense. And how any fucking company in the UK, any whatever these are news places, can even hire this guy is just insane to me. You need someone who's unbiased, who's not corruptible. That's it. Two simple things, but you can't even do that, which is quite telling of the sort of place you are. Because there's also the station's problem then, I suppose. Also the company's problems. Again, it's just ridiculous. So yeah. Don't really know what else to add. It's just absurd. So anyway, let's move on. There's been some very interesting things in the UK politics soon. I think the first thing I want to explain is probably the Count Binface thing. Obviously, Count Binface only exists because UK politics are a fucking joke. And this really pushes the point home. And when the world starts to see that, obviously, someone was elected as this character around the world, they'll start to realise the same thing. A lot of their politics are also a joke. The US is completely a joke. There's probably other countries, like probably Israel, probably counts here as well. But so many places with like state systems and just these ideas of running a place is a complete fucking joke, literally. Because it's been taken over by corrupt people and stupidity. And obviously with someone like Count Binface, it's likely to reveal how stupid politics are. And getting in is like one thing, and it wasn't really the intention. But I think it was like presenting, obviously as a bit, it's Count Binface. That was the entire point. To show how much of a joke this is, like anyone can be in politics. And on top of that, I think it also shows we actually have more power than we think when it comes to turning a result or doing the right thing. So it's also a statement as well. And I do like that other parties have pulled out in the election for this. For Clacton, I believe it is, where Count Binface is currently, obviously, what was it, position again? I can't remember, MP? Or something like standing for Clacton, I don't know. I can't remember now for some reason. But either way, it's really good. And I also do like a lot of these sort of Gen Z references that Count Binface has. It didn't really clock at first, but he was like saying, I got a reverse 69 and I'm from Sigma 9. Like, what? It's so bizarre, but it's also kind of clever. It's sort of like I guess it's like he's referencing stuff, I'm assuming he. So sorry if it's not the right pronoun, or his binness. I don't know. Yeah, either way, it's a good message to send to the world, I think. It's like the biggest fuck you, and especially towards Farage, who's the only other one apparently in Clacton. But the voters apparently say that 33% of voters want Count Binface, 22% want Farage, and then another lot just don't know or say neither. But it's good, because that means Count Binface is on the track to win. It's on track to win, however. So it's a good fuck you, and that was the first thing. But then there's this next thing, which is the Britain's views of views of various people on the parties. So yeah, so it's interesting. This YouGov poll apparently asked about different things, and they asked how sleazy everyone was, and I'll put very sleazy. I don't know, very sleazy, don't know, it won't count, but not sleazy is also an important one. And I don't think not sleazy at all is actually a thing, to be honest, in this poll, so I think that's kind of inaccurate. I think the reason why people verge on not very sleazy is because there's basically no trusting anyone in this game. Like, you never know. Even Zach Plansky, for example, who surprisingly is on here on a bad part, somehow below Andy Burnham, which is interesting. But again, even with someone like him, I do trust Zach to do the right thing, but at the same time, we don't have anyone else. So anyway, let's go for it. So it's a YouGov poll, and they rated very sleazy, fairly sleazy, don't know, not sleazy at all, not very sleazy, and not sleazy at all. So I'm fucking up. So British governments in general, everyone seems to think is very sleazy and fairly sleazy. And I don't think, was there anyone who said not sleazy at all? You can't see. I think there's probably one person. And then there's not very sleazy, and that's like 13. And 9 people don't know. But we all normally don't know stat because people are just not into politics if they're answering this sometimes. Then there's a Conservative government 2019 to 2024. 44% said very sleazy, 31% said fairly sleazy, then 11 said not very sleazy at all, and I'm assuming 2 said not sleazy at all, and 11 not very sleazy. I mean, Reform 52 very sleazy, 17 fairly sleazy, 11 not very sleazy, and 6 not sleazy at all. Which is interesting. And then Labour government since 2024 somehow is less. 31 very sleazy, 30 fairly sleazy, well that's technically more, 22 not very sleazy, and 5 not sleazy at all. Which is interesting. So some people still have their trust, but somehow some still do, and a lot of people view them as sleazy anyway, which is not good. And then there's Conservatives since 2024, 27 very sleazy, 30 fairly sleazy, and 20 not very sleazy, and then 6 not sleazy at all. So somehow they're lower than Labour, but it makes sense in a way. But I wouldn't trust Conservatives either way. Then SNP, Scottish National Party, I don't even know why they're here, to be honest. I swear SNP are not even part of the UK. Or the Britain, I mean. UK, Britain. So I don't know why they're here exactly, and I could be wrong, but I do trust the policy myself. But despite that, 28% very sleazy, 23% fairly sleazy, not very sleazy says 11%, and I think that's about 4 for not sleazy at all. Judging by the bar on there, because they don't show the number for some reason, and it's too small. It's very interesting that. But then there's the Green Party, which is even more surprising. So 20% say it's very sleazy, 15% say fairly sleazy. Important note, SNP and Greens have like, don't know, 34 SNP, 28 for Green Party, and Lib Dems I will say it's 27. That's very interesting, because people don't really have an opinion on them. It's kind of like, oh, if they get in, I don't care, and then people have more of a voice when it comes to the far right parties, which is very interesting as well. It reveals a lot actually. So perhaps I should be highlighting the don't knows, but the others are like 16 to 12%. But anyway, Green Party, 22% say not very sleazy, 15 say not sleazy at all, which is probably on the higher ones. And then there's Liberal Democrats, 12% say very sleazy, 90% fairly sleazy, 33% not very sleazy, and 9 not very sleazy at all. So those are like the parties, which I find fascinating. What the hell? It's just so bizarre. Because the Lib Dems here, obviously, like, viewed as the least sleazy party, and if I do a tactical vote, obviously, in the general election, you know, I have a feeling it's going to be Lib Dems. Even though I don't know much about them, and I do want to know more, I think it's kind of important. And then there's the people, which is even more interesting, but also concerning, somehow. But there's people saying different things about this. Nigel Farage, 56% say very sleazy, 17% say fairly sleazy. So all those bots, by the way, are not doing a single thing for Nigel Farage. It's just funny, and Rupert Lowe doesn't even count because he's not got enough fucking votes. it's just irrelevant. And this is the 7th to 8th of July 2026 poll. And don't know it's like 12%, so that's weird. But then there's 9% who say not very sleazy, and 6% who say not sleazy at all. What the fuck? What is going on here? And somehow Nigel Farage is more untrustworthy than Keir Starmer. The Keir Starmer is at 31% very sleazy, 23% fairly sleazy, 13% don't know, 22% not very sleazy, and then 11% not sleazy at all. What the fuck? That's just nuts. I would have put Keir Starmer above Farage because he's at least like being transparent about how corrupt he is. Nigel Farage has been trying to keep it secret, but even then, they're still very sleazy. If anything, they should be neck and neck in this poll. And somehow you've got idiots who still think that Starmer is doing a good thing here, which I find hard to believe. So yeah, that's bad. But then it gets even crazier because Zach Polanski is somehow third. 26% say very sleazy, 16% say fairly sleazy, 35% don't know, which is pretty high, it's one of the highest. 14% say not very sleazy, and 10% say not sleazy at all. So it's like one of the lowest not sleazies there is in don't knows, which is very interesting because he has a higher sort of acceptance in the Green Party for like being not sleazy, and the numbers are about the same, barely not sleazy at all, like 15% versus 10%. So this on party and leader, and then the don't knows are higher for Zach as a whole, and then the sleazies are higher for Zach. So it shows that his leadership may be impacting the party here. So I think people sort of agree with the Green Party, but the leadership maybe not. Sort of similar with, I guess, the Labour government here. Let's see, Labour. It's like more people don't trust the government than they trust Starmer, it seems. And in terms of not sleazy, it's almost neck and neck. It's like 22 for both, and then 5 to 11%, which is very interesting. So people think that Keir Starmer is still not sleazy, which is weird. But most don't trust Labour. So yeah, that's weird. There's weird numbers from this. Because I would have based almost an entire party based around obviously what the leadership is like, but here it seems like there's different opinions on both. Where people think the party is better than the actual person, like Nigel Farage. The fact 56% don't agree with him being like, well, they say he's very sleazy, and still 17% say fairly sleazy. It's nuts. And then you got people who still believe that they're not sleazy. It's weird. Anyway, Andy Burnham, which is the next one here. 18 say very sleazy, 18 also say fairly sleazy, and 30 say don't know, 22 say not very sleazy at all, and then 13 say not sleazy at all. 22 not very sleazy. Yeah, like the not sleazies are kind of neck and neck with like Stormer, which is weird again. Like, I'm not 100% sure what the fuck is going on here, but then people don't view him as very sleazy either. And in a bizarre twist of events, somehow Kemi Badenoch is on here. 15% very sleazy, 90% not, no, fairly sleazy I mean, and 27% don't know, 24% not very sleazy, and then 15% not sleazy at all. So it's like the highest not sleazy rating, which is weird because it doesn't really reflect the Conservative one there either. Because people still view them as fairly sleazy, but the leadership apparently not. Again, these numbers are very weird. And Ed Davey, so that's 12% fairly, very sleazy, 14% fairly, 39% don't know. So people are sort of in the middle, and I guess I would be there myself as well. I wouldn't really rate him because I don't know much about him, And that's the problem, they haven't been under the radar like Zach Polanski has, which is why Zach Polanski has such a high Sleazy rating anyway. It's because of all the shit that they've thrown at him, basically. Because Zach should be much lower on here, in my opinion. Even with some of the bad things he's done. Yet somehow Kemi Badenoch is like not as Sleazy, and I'm pretty sure she is. Anyway, 22% say not very Sleazy, and then 13% say not Sleazy at all. So, of the people, Kemi is like the least sleaziest apparently. But I would say Ed Davies probably, again, the best option. It seems like the Lib Dems again are kind of winning here. It seems they have the most trust among people, and the party numbers also reflect that. Only 90% to 14% fairly sleazy. And then the not very sleazy part of like trusting them, the party rating is higher. And even then, the don't know rating is higher too. It's less in party sense. So it's more in favour of Lib Dems, it seems, and that's a very interesting stat. Then we got, what's this? Do you think the following political parties are more on the side of the people or more on the side of the establishment? So, they say the Green Party is 39% on the people, 32% neither, 80% establishment. Liberal Democrats, 33% people, 27% neither, 26% the establishment. Reform UK, 28% people, 27% neither, 36% establishment. Labour Party, 27%, 23%, 41%, shouldn't need to repeat it. And Conservative Party, 30%, 60%, 62%, so very opposite. And these were similar polls, like only a day after. 1,000 online British adults about. Oh, wait, what does it say? D-line? D-line or online? I can't read that. Age 18 to 75. So yeah, a lot of people trust the Green Party and Lib Dems more than anyone else here. Even just with the neither statistic high here. And then the establishment sort of thing. Not surprisingly, the Conservatives are the highest, but you know, Labour should be higher in my opinion. Whether the establishment is, because I haven't really seen a definition for that. Either way, this is all silly. It really shows the big issue here with politics in the UK. Why it's such a joke to begin with, and why we can't take it seriously. But yeah, I just hope Count Binface also inspires people to do a similar thing. I think I did see a furry briefly, like an Andy Burnham thing. For some reason, he's like standing alongside a furry and a Count Binface, which is funny as hell. But hopefully we see more goofs like that, because I think it's needed. I think humour is probably one of the best ways to do politics. And I hope the Greens and stuff sort of take to doing that, like doing memes and doing other things, like being more down to earth as well. And, you know, sort of getting on trends too. Even though it's a bit cringeworthy, admittedly I will view it that way myself. It's probably the best way to do things, or at least have your own sense of humour, like Count Binface. If anything, Count Binface teaches us a lot about how politics should be. That's one of the things I've just noticed with all the interviews and all the other appearances I've seen of him so far. I think it's important, so you can only hope, really. Anyway, I ain't got anything else to add, so let's move on. Well, the heatwaves in the UK are definitely affecting me at this point, and in a bad way. But it is all the more proof that this is extremely dangerous, and all the people denying that there is climate change involved here, I think they need to be thrown in prison. Because it's fucking ridiculous that people can get away with this misinformation and keep spreading it, whilst actively causing a hazard for an entire planet. Because it isn't just the UK that's going to be affected, it's going to be every fucking where else. Especially the whole places already, where they're already going into emergencies apparently. Apparently there's a typhoon hitting China soon, which is not fun. Imagine I'm going to see a blue sky feed full of that, full of destruction. And yeah, it's bad. it's going to be terrible. But this really pushes the point home, and how I've struggled personally. To be honest, we haven't had a week below 20 yet in the midday, which is highly unusual. Because I recall last year there used to be some days of like 18s and 16s even, like before that. And so the temperatures are absolutely ridiculous. I think something does need to be done here, and it needs to be like a literal worldwide emergency to essentially put a lid on it. And apparently we're in a feedback loop or something. I've read that somewhere. We're in some sort of feedback loop with the nature of the climate. So what we're going to see now is going to be the thing we see next year, and then the year after that we'll see what we've seen there. Fun. Said nobody ever. It's absolutely absurd. Again, this is a problem, and I'll explain some of the issues I have personally. Keeping my own cool, actually being okay. I just need like a personal like fan to blow up myself and my computer because that would overheat. Otherwise, it already goes up to like 34 degrees when there's nothing on, which is not great. But when it's idle, it's a bit less. But when it's under load, it's especially bad. But there's not much I can do about it. But again, people don't realise this. Like, if you're a gamer, you should be fucking worried, because this will affect you. This will affect your computer systems and your consoles. At a certain point, it might not even be playable, and we're talking in like a decade, because it's just too warm. You can't sleep anymore, and then people start dying. And I have sleep deprivation myself because of the heat. I keep waking up in the night, and then I never get a full sleep. I never get recovery either, so that's not good. And all this because of climate change. Again, and someone did say before it might be Earth cycles, or to say it might be, I said it is, but the stupidity of that is they would have already calculated it, wouldn't they? If climate scientists calculate this, they would have put that into the equation, surely, because if it wasn't climate, they're the ones spreading misinformation then, aren't they? That's just a no-brainer. And people need to realise this, even if you are sort of like biased and thinking, no, we're just doing it to cause disruption, we're just doing it to cause pain, which isn't the intent of climate actually, from what I can tell. Again, we go back to that sort of narrative and how ridiculous it is. Probably what else is that? I can wake up in the night and the temperature never goes down in my room. I don't know what's going on. I've tried turning off the monitors, I've tried turning off my PC at one point, and it didn't do anything. It just remained the same throughout the entire night, even with the door open. What's the fucking point? Seriously, it's just, what a joke. And also last night led to a really annoying thing. A spider fucking built a web along my window. Somehow, I don't know how really and why they're up at night. I've caught a few at night actually before. Again, it's just more torture, it seems. But that seems to be the intent of some people, I think. It's not so much climate denial, it's more like revenge or something, because somebody said something about their bad habit or something offended them. It seems to be what happens nowadays. It's like, oh, you pissed me off, I'll fuck with you. Like when you could just leave it. You could just ignore them, you could just pretend that nothing ever happened, but instead they go for and they fuck people over. That's why you have ICE, that's why you have Trump, that's why you have a lot of different things wrong with the fucking world. It's probably even why we have the Iran war, actually. It's like people provoking and obviously supporting Trump. So, not good. As it has to be said. What else? I'm trying to think. I swear there's a bit more that's actually affected me as well. Not being able to game properly is a bit annoying at times. Trying to do things, and then a lot of the things I do are on my computer anyway, and I can't exercise at it. In this heat, I tried it with the aircon and it's doable, but I can't get enough on me to be able to exercise. Like for example, if I was to do it now, at the peak of the temperature might be a bit dangerous because it's still warm. Obviously I have to turn off my computer, but I have to somehow find a way to direct the aircon into my face because it's right next to the treadmill's right next to the aircon. I don't know what to say, what to even do here. You might say, oh, just put a fan there. I did. I didn't do anything. Yeah, I barely fucking felt it. It would have been just the same as if I had nothing on. Just the fan. Yeah, it's ridiculous. I can't begin to comprehend why it's so fucked at the moment. But again, we're stuck in this, it seems, and it's affecting people, definitely. Again, I'm just tired of this, and at the same time, it just kind of reminds me of what I fought for, and eventually this has happened, and nothing was worth it, really. It's not to say that I'm going to go back to eating animal products. Yeah, they still don't deserve the shit that's going on, despite this, and even then, their situation is getting worsened by the climate, so what the hell is even the point of supporting it? And even then, if there's a national emergency, it'd be the worst thing to get back into the routine of fucking eating animal products and shit. Like, what's the point? It's so dangerous. Yeah, people can't recognise this shit because, well, you didn't want to give up meat. Are you fucking kidding me? It's one of the easiest things to give up. I'm not even joking about that, by the way, because I went back to eating meat at one point. Just because of stupidity, mainly. But I tried it and got ill. I was like, oh, okay. And it turns out now you can get ill from it as well, from various like bacteria and sort of ticks, I think. I think there's a rumour going around about that. Oh my god, it is a cost to fuck out there at the moment. And again, the temperatures are not normal. I feel worse for the countries where there is extreme warmth. Mainly they've probably addressed it, France, Spain. I think they've gone up to like 48 degrees or something insane. And I can't even begin to comprehend that. Because the thing is, we have a conservatory here, and it's not really a secret anymore. It's annoyingly what came with the house. I wouldn't have had one myself, but actually it has had its benefits, fortunately. Put clothes in it, you can put stuff in it. Essentially it's basically another shed. But you can actually sit in it and enjoy it, although I don't do that personally because I'm not that sort of person. It's not my sort of thing. But, with that, inside it gets extremely warm. Apparently it even busted a thermometer once. Which is, yeah, that is not good. That means it could probably melt as well. So, once again, this is climate change. We cannot ignore this shit. Nothing should be getting that fucking warm to break a fucking thermometer. Again, this feels just too bad to be true. Nobody's even really crying about this that much either. It's very strange actually. The behaviour has been quite calm for some reason, I don't know why, but maybe people are realising that rather just giving up, like I think that's what's maybe happening here. But giving up is not obviously an effective strategy to stopping it. It doesn't change anything. It just makes it worse, and ideally we should be taking over governments by force because there is no other way to address this. The governments are corrupt, they're stupid, they're not doing the right thing, so we need to get our hands into government the right way. And what are they going to do? They're going to deploy the people who are going to be affected by it as well? Of course they're not. Because they'll be fucking impacted by all this shit. Impacted by the corruption, impacted by the climate. They won't be able to wear it if it's too hot either. Like armour and gear and even just holding weapons. So it really backfires when you consider it all in all. So yeah, again, this just feels ridiculous. I just don't know what's at, and I'm experiencing like various mental breakdowns at the moment. over the heat and over things. And that's the other thing, I can't even do shopping in person now because of this. You might think, oh, it's just, it's a car journey and you go in there and it's air conditioned. I know that. I fucking know it's air conditioned. But that's not necessarily good either. It shouldn't be air conditioned. That's the point. The fact it's being air conditioned means that there's something horribly wrong with the weather. It needs to be at a stable temperature to keep things cool and stop it from going off, to stop it from being humid. But, how are they going to do that when it's too warm? That's the question. So again, there's not really any point, and even then, assuming I do go, I still have to do the journey, which itself is unbearable in a fucking hot car as well. You can't necessarily walk either. And the UK is not built for this. I can't remember, there's a channel I watched actually, somewhere, I can't remember the name now, but it explained what was going on with the temperature and why the UK is not going to do well with it. And basically they said that because of the way the UK is with humid climates and stuff, we're not supposed to be in this warmer weather. The reason why it's so different and harder than being somewhere like Spain, for example, is because of humidity. And again, these climate-denying idiots seem to think it's just summer. Yet, the humidity is what's affecting us and giving us tropical nights where we can't sleep. And we get adjusted to the warmth so badly that we literally wake up in sweats and we can't do much, or just warmth, not just sweats, it's warmth. So it's extremely, I don't know how to describe it, it just backfires terribly. These are warning signs we cannot ignore, and we don't have the price to pay for all this shit. And again, it just feels like another sort of situation where it's like we're going towards an apocalypse or something. Within the next, 10 years or something, some sort of emergency. Or it's done with intention as well, hence obviously Trump being a complete fucking disaster. Hence Keir Starmer being a disaster, hence Israel being a disaster. It's just many different reasons why. And the next thing that's going to happen is, as Israel is kind of a fall guy, in a sense, for real estate, as it currently stands, they're also going to be the ones to hijack some place somewhere, I don't know, it could be somewhere small, somewhere cold, like Nepal maybe, or a chunk of Russia or something you never know. Things could go that bizarre, and they'll hijack the colder climates because it's more livable for people. Because it's so fucking warm, we'll just start going to war with the places that are colder if they can't make an agreement. And we'll all essentially evacuate there until we just die. There's also little to no point in it as well, and then people will be selected for this shit. It's very much a doomsday scenario. So the only people who get chosen for that are those that are good friends or trusted by government. It's all pick and choose, hence all of this shit happening right now. It is literally just a case of pick and choose, and that's what's destroying us at this point. We're being fucked over by that, and that's what people do when they argue against things. As I said before, I've done my activism. I've told people to give up fossil fuels, I've told people to take healthier choices in life, not just changing from a car to a bike or a car to an electric car. It's also about eating healthy, doing the healthier things for your life, so exercising a bit more. As I said, a bit more, it's not like I'm asking you to run a marathon. It's an important point there. And I'm not even doing that. I'm on the treadmill almost every day that I can. Yeah, it's still ignored. And then I say things like go vegan because of the animals, because of the ecosystems, and they ignore me. Everyone ignores me, they spit on me, tell me to shut up, tell me that it's not real, tell me that it's cherry picked. And you get all these fake Reddit bots and stuff who comment only on these posts, these type of comments and posts, who defend the animal agriculture industry, which is inherently corrupt, and we get fucked for it because people believe them instead of us, because they believe someone with more money which in itself is shameful. I wouldn't just believe someone with more money, I'd have to see a reason to believe them. And that's the difference. There could be rich people who do make a good point. They can see something of, like, say, beyond me, who say rational things like their founder or whoever it is. But they also have to prove the point. They have to be on the mark with that and be correct. So that it counts, so it matters. But yeah, I won't tell you even that. Again, this just feels so fucking dystopian. And we are literally in the midst of hell, I think. It's consuming us, and we're gonna start to see places just falling underwater because we can't hold it. Yeah, the pressure of the ocean, just keep in mind we can't put up dams. The pressure of the ocean is going to overwhelm that. That's because somehow really quickly constructs, like, I don't know, dams around an entire fucking country, and then one day it will collapse, it will overflow, then we'll all be drowned and flooded. Because we've also caused climate change with that. Like, people are really stupid when it comes to thinking up solutions for this, or supposed solutions, or whatever. Even just temporary workarounds. I've seen that those idiots claim closing a window stops the heat getting in, but it doesn't. It keeps the heat in. It doesn't get out. So you're still warm regardless. It makes no difference whatsoever. So you're still baking, and the computers and stuff, whatever technology you have, it still causes issues. Good job, idiots. I can't believe that's like the most copy and pasted advice for keeping cool in the summer. There's also a stupid one about putting a couple of ice cubes or something in front of a fan. I've tried it twice to no avail. It does not do a thing. What are you doing? What is this fucking advice? Because it is not clearly advice, it's trolling. And I'm pretty sure that's illegal as well. So I don't know what they're even doing with that. Things you can demonstrate it as well. I guarantee you, do it any part of your house, any part of the country, it'll be that. You know, you'll realise that it's just a load of fucking bullshit. Again. So yeah. I don't really know what else to answer, to be honest, but as I said, I've warned people for years now. I've said climate change is real, I've said that exploiting animals is very much the wrong thing to do, because it also abuses animals as well. And now the animal abuse community, as I'll call them for what they are, aka psychopaths, who only focus on eating meat and stuff, they're the ones responsible. Even the fuckers that I watch every now and then, you're the ones responsible for it too. Yeah, speaking about like channels I watch, so I don't know, I'll call them out, why not? Members of the Oxcast, HC Justin, who's someone I did enjoy, but obviously when it brings up animal products and cooks them, scummy. It's channels like Kraken, and you know, it just gets really fucking out of hand. There's so many different channels that do this, and even just streamers and stuff. Hell, even Limmy I found like still eats meat. It's just so shitty. I really cannot understand it, I can't wrap my head around it. Even Northern Lion actually has made jokes about vegans, which doesn't age well in the grand scheme of things, because we were right. We were right to call this shit out. Being right all along. And nobody's actually been able to refute it, and I could be convinced. Yet nobody's bothered. Instead it's just like, oh, just keep your views to yourself. Sure. And what will you do about climate change? Silence. There's just no response at all. Okay, so you ignored all the ethical beliefs, and then you ignored the climate change, which impacts ethical beliefs. Again, you only have yourselves to blame. So welcome to hell, I guess. So let's move on. You know, I don't know why I haven't talked about this. Because it feels pretty important, and also just really cool anyway. So, as people may know, I have a extension for Vivaldi, which is on any Edge or Chrome browser, I think, and Chromium. Yeah, but I think it's on all of them actually. It's called Tablet. I've been sorry, I can't help that. I've supported it basically. I donated a few months ago. I think it was like, I can't remember how much it was now. But I really like this extension. It's really nice, so customizable, and it has great images, not AI, which is the most important part of this, I think, because if it was AI, well, fuck yourself, literally. But you know, you can choose so many different settings. But I've already talked about this in detail, and I just want to compliment the place where it sources the images, which is Unsplash. Yes, it's a long time coming, I think, because essentially it's one of the most sort of like, it's one of the best sites, I think, for avoiding AI images, and admittedly I don't think it gets rid of it exactly, to an extent. I think there's still some sort of cracks. I'm looking at one now by a very suspicious user. It just seems to upload quite a lot of illustrations, but these ones seem very kind of but it's not even said that it's AI, so I don't know. It could just be an artist. But the photography is really where it shines, I think, because it is actually insane. The photography aspect is real good, because there are so many great photographs on it. And not only that, they can also be labelled. So if you photograph, for example, a location like, what was that castle called? Washington Castle? I can't remember. Is it a German castle? I'll look it up and start up and see. Neuschwanstein, that's it. But if you look this up, it will come up. Neuschwanstein is right there in the suggestion. And there are plenty of photos of 487, which is fine. This just looks like Disney, what the hell? That's not Neuschwanstein. Some of these aren't. So yeah, there may be a problem mislabeling, but you get so many photographs and it's insane. There's even some of different angles for once. But this is why I love this site. It's not AI. There's even an interior photo, which is rare, I think that's interior. But you get so many angles, so many seasons and stuff, and different perspectives. Like, I'm looking at some of these being amazed. And yet none of it's AI. That's the best part. It just seems almost too good to be true at times. And whenever I see an image, it's like, wow, I have to download it, because I'm just in shock. It's one of the few places where you can download royalty free. It's good enough, I thought about getting Unsplash Plus as well. But it also allows you to use the content. If I was ever making a video again, videos with, you know, cinematography or whatever, I could include some of these. And it'd be right there. You can download it, no watermark, high quality images. It's literally perfect. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. And you look at other things like unknown, like foxes. It's got a lot of foxes. 2.5K photos, and pretty much all of these are just normal photography. I don't think there's many here that are AI. Like, some of them look a bit fishy to me, but most seem to be AI, which is honestly a positive, because there are many platforms that won't even do this sort of moderation or policing in this sense. But again, there's like so many photographs here that are just natural. They're real. They ain't got any fucking sort of malicious intent behind them or anything. Again, there's so many photographs, you can find pretty much most things here, I think. But it's just really my love for the site. It really is a different kind of place for the internet, especially. And it also includes illustrations, and yeah, again, you can't really detect AI from these. A lot of them are quite simple illustrations, which is fine. But I think that's sort of the niche anyway. It sort of serves to... It's even a privacy fox, I love that. but it just serves to, you know, just I guess embolden artists and stuff. I don't know what the term is. But they are very simple. They're like foam wallpaper quality kind of stuff, which is really something. I think that honestly is really good. And well, in the same sort of vein, I am also using Unsplash on my phone. There is actually an app for this, and I discovered this quite a while ago because I was really desperate to get something to work, and me being stupid, I didn't realise the similarity. But there's an app called Unsplash on Android. I'm not sure if it's on iOS, so I wouldn't really recommend iOS. But here on the phone, you've got so many different options. I paid for the premium on this because it's worth it. But you can see the different wallpapers, but you can also have it auto-change, which is the entire point that I wanted with both of these things, like tablets and obviously this. But it felt important to see that. So naturally I had to get something like this. Give a different sort of point of view and to get different sort of, you know, images and ideas even, and inspirations. In fact, there's a pier here. What the hell's this? Like on the feature, the Brighton pier? Huh. Yeah, it's definitely UK. I can tell because of the weird scaffolding on it, or whatever you call it, supports. Also, I guess the shape. The shape's more American though, I notice. I don't know. It's very interesting. Again, you come across these gems every now and then. And just some great photography. There's one here of lily pads which looks amazing. It can often say the location, sometimes it doesn't. It depends on what it is, I think. There's even like a person here. It doesn't say the person. It's got different tags and stuff. There's a doggo swimming in McCall ID USA. Is that Idaho? I don't know what ID stands for. Yeah, swimming there, and then there's this amazing bridge. I've seen this before. Oh, good luck trying to pronounce this. Vollenstind Ramberg, Norwegian. Yeah, looks incredible. Also sort of looks like, I don't know why, but it reminds me a bit of that bit in Severance where, I don't want to spoil it, but you know, they go somewhere and it looks like this, but it's snowy. Yeah, I'm saving this image. It's beautiful. But again, this is the magic of this site. No AI, real locations. You can back it up as well. It's just everything you could even need. It's quite a good site. I wouldn't consider uploading my own stuff, to be fair. But, you know, it's up there. Sure. I definitely appreciate something like this. It's definitely one of a kind. Definitely needs to be preserved, I think, as much as possible. And I wonder if they have social media. But wouldn't mind following them if they have one. If they ever need help and stuff. I'll look into like setting up a subscription, obviously, if I need to. What am I saving this in DLC? DLC, I don't think. Although technically most of Earth is a DLC anyway. So yeah, also see a familiar one, Santorini, Greece. Yep, that's not labelled as such, unless it's in the tags. No. Similar photos though. Actually, they're all kind of similar, the ones below. Interesting, someone's taken multiple pictures of the same food for some reason. Yeah, that's what is so fascinating about this. It's sort of like going on holiday without going on holiday. That's a lot of what I see the images as well. It makes it so fascinating. Look at some of the others, like the Neuschwanstein, I forgot to look at these. Yeah, different photographs, different time of day, maybe an interior room with a rug, maybe not then. Yeah, another angle which I haven't seen before, you've got the roads and stuff, you've got a parking lot down there. Even some area being built around it on the side, which is interesting. Is that a cafe? Actually, I think that's a cafe. I've never been here, but I've never flown. Because my wings are made of wax. What? I don't know. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about this site because I fucking love it. It's one of the best sites on the internet in my opinion, and I think it needs more attention. Also, I think if they can keep the practice of not using AI, it'll just be far better. And especially if they moderate it as well, moderate any post that comes in, you know, it'd be great. I can also see it being a very good business strategy. Because it also adds legitimacy, and like if I need to get references as well, especially as an artist, it's very much necessary to look for something without AI, because AI is going to fuck it up. I'm going to suddenly draw a fox with like 3 toes instead of 5 for some reason, because AI forgot the other 2. And somehow it would also have a rabbit's head. So yeah, again, that's why we need to avoid AI and support places like this. So let's move on. I can't remember if I've ever talked about this. It's something really personal to me, and I might have discussed it before, but I think looking at some footage online, it does really blow my mind away. As people probably know, I've grown up around pets pretty much my entire life. I've had cats, I've had dogs with my family. Obviously, they take better care of them than I do, which is fine. I'm lucky to have that really, because I know some families don't have any or really can't afford it. But this was like 2000, so it wasn't too bad, I don't think. It's still bad, I think, in areas. But growing up, and obviously now being an adult, not now really, I've always been an adult throughout the last, 11 years, I think. Hang on, I'm having a quarter life crisis again. But I just love interacting with animals, and it really does sort of warm my heart when I get to be around animals. But one of the worst parts for me is the fact that I probably can't ever look after one. There are many reasons leading up to it, some I won't go into, but I think the main one is that I'm just not good at looking after things. Not sure I can look after an object or a tool just fine for some reason, but that's because it's a one-time use thing, or I don't use it much. You know, I can borrow things and then hand them back. I used to borrow books from the library, I think, and hand them back in fine quality. Admittedly, I don't read them. I tried watching, I mean reading Skullduggery Pleasant, because it had a cool cover, but I never read it. That's my extent of book reading. Until English classes, when they essentially forced us to read books and read it out to everyone, which was a bit weird also, because, you know, even though I could take it in turns, and I did read one somehow. Surprised anyone understood it, I think. Yeah, it just wasn't very optimal, but, you know, that's objects. And then I tried looking after plants and flowers, and, you know, I was watering them. I gotta admit, I did do the job. I watered them, but I didn't prune the flowers, and I think it's pruning. I can't remember. It's where you get the shears, whatever they're called. Was it? No, it's something else, not shears. It's like a mini version. Well, it's like the thing you use to cut strings on guitars. But yeah, I grew them. I made some crops. I managed to not really distribute. I just handed it out to people I knew, because it freaked me out a bit, seeing how out on the open it was. It's like, okay. If for some reason watching the process was a bit of a OCD nightmare, because I was always worried it would die and stuff, and I managed to grow peppers as well inside, and chili peppers, but it died very quickly after it grew them. It's very strange. But after that, it's kind of like I didn't know what to do. So I was just like, give up. Because my housemate was stealing the crops I produced, including all the tomatoes I grew, which was a gift from someone, by the way. And I was also going through the lockbox recently, because I had to get them to stop him from nicking my stuff. But yeah, I'm going to get rid of the lockboxes, I think. But he stole some of this stuff, and it was my stuff that was growing. He didn't ask permission or anything. He was a fucking scumbag. It was definitely in those areas anyway. There are areas where it doesn't appear to be, but it's hard to know. And yeah, to me it just felt very bad. And then there was a lemon tree I just kept under a blanket thing that I got off online for the winter. It survived actually, and it's someone else, happy to say. But I just don't feel like I'm good enough at looking after them. And then I moved and I was looking after them. I watered plants every now and then. I put them in the conservatory, which maybe was the worst idea, because it didn't actually work out that well because of the heat in there, I think. But this is during the winter, so I don't even know what happened, but it just died anyway. It wasn't even that cold in there. So again, it just died. Like, I didn't do anything and it just died. And the thing is, they have growing seasons on the packets for the seeds, so I don't even know what happened. My chili plant never survived, never grew back, and these other plants I got given as a gift rather, they didn't survive either. For some reason, in this house, in the windowsill. So I don't know what I did wrong, but I did something wrong. I wasn't overwatering them, they had dry soil on it, and my soil, when obviously it was watered, had no plate literally indicating that it was too watered, because that's usually a sign. Again, I just don't know. But the thing I worry about with animals is, as I've realised recently, I've been sort of giving water to the wildlife, and I got a bowl for that specifically. I decided to get a new one because there wasn't really one I could offer up, and this bowl would have been better anyway, because yeah, thankfully it was. But I went out there one time and I was going to open the conservatory door to allow air out and allow my clothes to dry a bit better, even though the heat dries them anyway. It almost burns them to a crisp actually. I found them a bit crispy every now and then. But yeah, there's a shit in there. I don't know what animal could have done that. It was a weirdly sized shit, so I don't know if it could have been a cat. But it's almost like a fox, and I do know it's a fox because I've managed to get a recording of a fox jumping over a fence. Yeah, it is something special actually. I forgot to share that with people I know. It's quite interesting actually. That'd be a good way to sort of lighten the mood, I suppose. But yeah, we have a fox, which is neat. I'm wondering how I could feed them, I don't know. So I'm a bit worried about that, because I sort of want to get something like V-Dog, but I don't know if that's suitable for foxes exactly. I know foxes aren't carnivores, but you know you need to be specific with what you feed them. Because they're omnivores instead, and they don't want to feed me, obviously. So I try for it. But yeah, it also just makes me realise as well, I clean it out every few days and stuff, and it's good practice. But at the same time, I don't think I can live with an animal, and that's a different thing entirely. Because the main worry for me, and I've again lived with dogs, but I've never had dogs on my bed, I've never really been too close to them, and as I've gotten older it's also gotten worse. Because I've more of a phobia of insects, and I don't really like the idea of like touching things. It's weird. I'm even struggling to touch this like mouse pad underneath me, which as you can imagine with fur it's going to be different. I like fur, but I don't like certain types of fur. There's actually a type of fur on one of the dogs I grew up with which is kind of awful. I hate to say it, it's a really bad type of fur. It's almost like the bristles on a toothbrush, to describe it the best. There are fluffy bits, but there aren't any safe bits, so that's the thing. I can't really stroke without feeling the tooth bristles or anything, the toothbrush bits. But yeah, that definitely impedes it, because I would love to have animals around me, and even in my bed and stuff, and just obviously companionship, or whatever you call it with them, like pet ownership. But I sort of see that as companionship anyway. But that could be a different thing actually. I think about it. But as I said, it's something I'd consider it. How I'd even happily adopt a fox and leave a fox in there if I could train them to obviously piss and shit outside. But again, I just get so OCD about the things that spread around it, like if they have fleas or ticks, or if they have some sort of residue on them, so they tread around the house. God, it can be a fucking nightmare, and I'm not suited for this, even with a cat, for example, which would have to be an indoor cat if I ever did get a cat. But I just wouldn't be able to handle it, I don't think. That's why I say it's a heartbreaking sort of story thing, I guess. I'd love to look after an animal, as I said, even potentially go to a sanctuary and volunteer, but I just can't see myself being able to. My issues worsen as I get older, smells become more sensitive, I don't like smell shit, that's why I closed that door. When this shit was in the bowl, I couldn't clean it out, I had to get someone else to do it. I can't even take out the rubbish, which is going to be a problem if I move to a flat. I know that, but I'll have to try and power through it, I think, somehow. Maybe there's some invisible like hook things for your nose to just cover it up. I don't know. I don't even know how flat rubbish services work anyway, actually. I imagine it's the same as everything else. I've really been outside, as in like same as houses. I should look out for that when I'm driving past flats, actually. It might give me a good idea. Animals just a no-go, sadly. Even though it's very much something I would enjoy, especially if I can adopt a fox. That'd be fucking amazing. It's also just be really cool, so it's sort of a dream of mine actually to be up close with a fox, really. It's actually on my bucket list of things to do. Just to befriend a fox and be close. I really think that it will be just a dream come true. There's not really any way to describe it. I think it's especially important nowadays, trying to follow my dreams the best I can. And yeah. So, I don't really know what else to add. Again, I just wish I could be a pet owner, pet person. Even though it gave me a good reason to exercise and go outdoors and obviously walk an animal, and even just give me a good prompt to. And I see all these videos online, and that's sort of where it comes back to. Where people are just such good owners of their pets, they're literally just here. There's a granny of her giant dog. Was it her dog? The steak. Yuck. It's like a whole steak for the dog, which is kind of nice. Chewy is a celebrity, okay. That's interesting. Yeah, so, I mean, also I'd be a bit kind of iffy about people feeding them. I wouldn't want them to feed like meat or anything, because that just is gross, and I don't really support the idea anyway. Because it is kind of corrupted in the way that obviously it's being told to people. They literally think dogs are carnivores, which they are not. They are omnivores, and there's even proof out there, there's studies, which is more important, that any animal can be put on a vegan diet, or almost any animal, I think. Not sure about lions, I swear I've seen something related to that, but I can't quote it. It's been a long time since I've heard about it. But then there's the, well, dogs and cats who, equally, I think they can live off a vegan diet. Yeah, it might say, oh, well, you're depriving them of joy, you're depriving them of everything. No, if you actually look at how they behave and stuff, they're actually fine. They're willing to be proven wrong on that. But even just anecdotally, every vegan dog I've seen has just been fine. They don't express any sort of bad symptoms like being sad or depressed or just not joyful. And again, I think people seem to underestimate what dogs actually think and feel on that. Every time we've ever fed a dog, it's like they're a duck, and that's been for all dogs. It's not just one of them, it's pretty much all of them. scoff it down without even tasting it. So to say there's any sort of joy in that is kind of entirely ignorant. Even then, it's very subjective. So yeah, maybe let's do that. So yeah, again, that's sort of why it wouldn't be good. Also, cost as well. I forgot about that. I hear horror stories constantly about animals going to the vets and then not being able to afford it, and it sucks. I don't know why the vet industry is so greedy. It makes no sense. It should ideally be free. You know, if you took the responsibility of looking after an animal, it shouldn't cost anything. It should just be the same as the NHS, really, in my opinion. And every animal could be saved, and that's probably what a wealth tax would help with as well. Looking at it, being able to subsidise vet bills and on top of giving people proper wages. It's just ridiculous. I cannot understand some of the logic sometimes. But yeah, even politics can impact your animals' well-being, believe it or not. And also, the further away we can get away from animal agriculture anyway, speaking on the dietary things, the better the planet will be, the better it will be for our animals and wildlife, the better it will be for everyone. You know, less health problems and longer, more fulfilling lives. Like, what's there to fucking lose? It's often the question I come back to when I see this bullshit around, oh, don't feed your animals vegan stuff, don't force it on them. Right, how about how long they live compared to the meat eaters? And I've seen studies again from people who present it, to be clear, literally saying they live longer. And to me that seems pretty irrefutable. It obviously depends on the methodology, if it can be called out. Obviously I wouldn't call it out myself if I were knowledgeable on it. Yeah, I think it's important. So anyway, it's my thoughts on pets, obviously. But it's about understanding my limitations, and OCD is probably the bigger one. I could probably feed and walk and obviously water and bathe a pet, but I probably couldn't obviously be too close, and that's kind of the hard thing. It's like a hedgehog dilemma, I think. I learned that from Evangelion. But literally it feels like that. It's like the closer you get, the thornier the situation becomes, and that's probably how an animal would see me. It'd see me as kind of thorny and stuff. It's just, yeah, that sucks. I wouldn't even have the time to just play. You know, like, have like a, I don't know, a toy here that they want to play with and stuff, and then I need to go and wash my hands after. It's like, it's a mess. And again, so one of the dangers of that actually is like having my plushies and stuff around, and they would just tear those apart. So it also just changes my situation from, well, I can have a pet, to, oh, I've got to be careful with all these things around me that they can obviously grab onto and play with and shit. That may not be good for them either. So yeah, anyway, I better move on. I've been watching more of that Bodycam footage, and there's another thing to say. It's more to do with the outcome, as in, they were just, I forgot about this as well, but there's also a bunch of stupid people around. I watched one where someone was killed by a driver who'd stolen the vehicle, I think. Tried to get away and killed someone on the side, crashing into the fucking car and sending him out the window. Just nuts. And then someone who watched that happen saying that, oh, I'm a nurse, but not leaving the scene, even after being asked to leave the scene. What sort of fucking nurse is like, oh, I'm just gonna watch? They get so many weird characters here in the US, it seems. I don't fucking understand it. Here it would be like, oh, everyone's gonna surround you, and I literally remember as a child I've seen accidents happen before, not actual accidents, I mean, but, you know, people affected by them and stuff, like cars and stuff all around them, and people surrounding their victim. Because that's what we can do here. Although sadly there are people being arrested for just looking, because there are some very stupid police officers here, it seems, and law systems as well. But then there's the other thing, which I think is more telling about this, but the fact that judges release these people seemingly, sorry, I need to turn on my aircon quick. But yeah, people, the judges rather, seem to release these people in like months or years when they've committed a fucking murder. Someone got caught up in their own fucking shit. It's just insane to me that judges don't treat them as if they murdered someone when there was full well risk of this. And yeah, you could say that they wouldn't know that was coming if they're driving, but the reality is it's a lifetime taken away from someone else, and someone gets to live the rest of their life doing that. And I think people might also think, well, you know, it's just they get to live their life with that in mind, like they create a victim, but they technically don't have to fucking care. They killed someone. Some people will eat them alive, but that's only really the people who feel empathy, feel sympathetic, but others it'll just be like, yeah, they don't care. And that's why it's just so insane to me when I see some of this shit and some of these exact sort of decisions where they don't get punished. And that's the crazy thing, and when they're especially mentally ill, and that could have prevented a fucking death from someone else, so obviously these murderers and these attempted murders, I don't think it matters if they attempted it and didn't kill someone. They still attempted it, and that should itself be life in prison. It's like, be fucked, essentially, just for trying. And they don't deserve to be on the streets for that matter. Then I suppose there is the other thing I need to talk about, where there's also strange judgment calls from the police every now and then. I literally just saw a Midwest safety video where a woman managed to get out of her cuffs in the police station, get into the back of the cop car and grab a gun. She didn't open fire, which is the surprising bit, because most idiots would try to open fire and she was an idiot. But she just held up these officers the entire fucking day, brought out a SWAT team, just because she didn't want to be arrested and wanted a cigarette. Again, what are these judgment calls? And she was holding a gun to her head a few times, but at that point I'll just say, fuck off. Like, I get people, or rather the police maybe want to have like a peace option, but I think the fact that she's already gone as far as to grab a gun to aim at the officer, supposedly, and, you know, hijack a police station, which has caused disruptions to the police, no doubt. Why the fuck should we care about her? Again, what are they doing there? It feels so weird to see that. To see that they've spent all this fucking time trying to disarm her, trying to get her to give up, and they just play the time game. They don't actually go in there, stop this from happening, arrest her immediately, get the okay, like, go ahead sort of thing for the police station, and just get on with the fucking job. I just think it's pure insanity, and who cares if she fucking shoots herself? She's obviously fucking lying, she's bluffing. And that's the thing. I think there should be like some sort of legality thing there, where, you know, there should be a protection for officers in those situations specifically, where they actually have a gun to these people's heads, their own heads, and yeah, like, if they fire, then whoopsie, problem solved, question mark, but not really. Again, it's sort of bad because obviously it means that they had the desire to die, but at the same time they can't be doing this shit where many more are going to die. It's like a trolley problem. It's a really fucking complex system, obviously, but I think the trolley problem here is really not favourable of the person who's claiming to be a victim here, obviously the one with the gun to their heads. And also, by virtue of having a gun anyway, I think that's already enough criminalisation, even if you're intending to simply kill yourself. I could be wrong, I could have been misreading the situation, and that's probably something I don't get. The same with like judging anyway, like assessing and stuff. And also why people stand around when there's a crime going on and when there's gunshots and shit. But I just wonder, what's the thought process? What am I missing here? Because there is something clearly wrong. There's something wrong with the way these people think and act. And that's clearly something that's missing from us, it's missing from public view. And that feels absolutely necessary to know. Again, what are we thinking? It just brings so many more questions than it does answers things. So I don't even really know. And it's weird. So, again, I feel like the police system in the US, as well as the judgment systems. I remember the stupid one with an animal abuse case where I think someone was either recording or rescuing some animals from a place where they were being abused. And the judge literally sided with the fucking farmers that were doing this. Which is ridiculous because it was so obvious that there was animal abuse, and who are these judges anyway? Apparently these are like Supreme Court judges, and I think, is it technically just a federal judge if it's just, you know, the usual sort of crime stuff, but Supreme Court judges are like kind of the top tier, even though they're not at the moment apparently. Again, it's so bizarre. I feel like it's so dystopian, no matter how we look at it. It feels like there's a few screws missing from every side of the story here. Which is kind of why we have this shit to begin with, and I think that's why people in the UK generally are not as stupid when it comes to crimes. I think it is literally just oh yeah, well, I'm done, gets arrested. Literally. I literally don't think there's any reason to fight. And even then, there's been like chases and stuff. I remember watching, I think, a thing called Road Wars back in the day. Hometown only appeared in that once, fun fact. I don't think it ever appeared again. But yeah, again, those chases, they last for a while, but they lead to nothing. The people, the criminals can't escape. The chases don't do much because they don't end well. It always ends up in a crash because we have narrow roads in the UK. We're in the UK. And the spike strips don't really do anything. So, yeah. It shows you with the sandboxy sort of elements the US has, they clearly don't value people. It's very much obvious, whether it's a criminal, whether it's those bystanders, whether it's someone else. And I think you also just saw one where someone set an apartment on fire because of a boyfriend situation, where he was actually jealous of this new boyfriend that his ex had, and literally endangered a bunch of fucking people. Like, everyone from these apartments had to be evacuated because of this fire. I'm not sure about the Piers, I didn't hear about that, which is a bit weird, a bit sad though. But you know, the kids are fucking crying and stuff, and they don't want to be there. It's like hellish, and then people are worrying like that they're going to lose their homes, and then someone goes over on it. When there's a lunatic that set the place on fire, gets out, gets arrested, gets handcuffed, and then seen for wounds and stuff. Someone comes over and fucking bonks him with what was it? I forgot what it's called, a flask? Yeah, a flask. And you know, they charged him for that. They charged that guy for fucking flask hitting this cunt who made them lose their homes. And luckily, I think he was sided with. But man, there shouldn't have been a fucking charge for that. If I lost my homes, I'd be fucking mad at the person who did that shit. Did I say homes? I meant home. I'm not a fucking homeowner. I'm a homo. That's another thing. Yeah, again, disappointing. It seems to happen. It's a shame though. It's also just a waste of life, a waste of whatever you could be in life, really. The amount of criminals that we get, the amount of criminal judges, I might as well say here. And again, those bystanders who just do not help at all. I'm pretty sure there's been bystanders who also obstruct crimes as well, so it's not great. Jesus, it's like the amount of times that you see on these body cam footages. Admittedly, they probably only have, or usually have, the surviving officers on there. But you know, there's probably more officers that are killed by gunfire than there actually are those who survive it, which is a sad reality. even if the police are like, doing the right thing here, which some of them aren't really in areas. It just feels so fucking bad, dystopian, and I'm surprised there isn't really much like crossfire or accidental sort of damages and stuff, or even just people accidentally getting killed because the crossfire again. I don't really 100% know how bullets work in terms of velocity, like if it goes through one window, does it go over the next, or can it go into a neighbour's window and accidentally kill a neighbour? I'm confused about that sort of stuff because we don't have guns here, obviously. UK, at least legally, I'm not owning firearms and stuff. But yeah, I get kind of sick of this, watching the footage. It just reminds me of how little faith I have in humanity. But there are obviously good people, good officers, especially the canines, good boys. Yeah, don't really have much else to say on this, so let's move on. Well, whatever's going on, sleep monsters are back, or whatever the fuck is going on at this point. I don't know. So I had another bad night's sleep, and I might as well open my phone for this because there are some details. So, I don't even remember the last time I had a good sleep. Also, it's been really bad, and going through the sleep history, let's see. Where is it? Sleep time over the last 7 days. So apparently the last good sleep I had was like back in the 17th of July, somehow. And then even then the subsequent sleeps haven't been great. 22nd onwards to 25, and 25 was better. Wait, that isn't even July. That's June. So the 4th of July was my last good one. It seems I had 7 hours sleep, which is good. But everything since, 5 was one of the worst, 6 was bad, 7 was bad, 8 was better, but still not great, 9 was bad, 10 was better, 11 was apparently better, didn't feel it, 12 was bad. Again, I don't know what's going on. How much of it is literally like stress, how much of it is, again, there's temperature, it's hard to know. So I'm just sort of suffering in silence here, and I'm literally going to contact 111, I think, because this isn't normal. I shouldn't be having this much struggle getting to sleep. But the other thing is that it does impact my mood and my mentality and stuff, because it really does affect me. I literally struggle with many different things, and even this morning I woke up with breathing issues and a blocked nose. I tried like blowing my nose and stuff, and it wasn't going away. So I tried using a tissue, and that somehow fixed it. I don't know how. I just rummaged around in there. But yeah, I'm just so fucking defeated and tired, and I need to exercise as well. Amidst a heat wave, mind you. But I cannot do that when there is literally, it's too warm. I've got no temperature control in this room. Even with the aircon, I was still waiting for the, like, why the fuck haven't they helped me with this? I've got like a window seal kit, and I want to do it, but I don't even know where to begin with it, because my current thing here, but to be fair, I forget about that, but I can open the net. It's got like flaps on it, but the seal kit is going to have issues too, because somehow I need to put it on the door, somehow we need to keep the doors closed, so we put it on, and also it needs to stay on as well. But it's so big as well that I struggle to see how it will work, actually. Look at the handle. Yeah, I think it'd be fine, actually. Yeah, it would work wrapping around it. And it would avoid the handle as well, which is good for both the windows here. Oh my god, it's a fucking mess, I think. I don't know what's going on, really. I need to have this addressed, much as obvious, because I can't keep going like this. It is affecting my mental health badly, and I'm surprised I haven't died from this, you know? Because really, that seems a bit overdue. Probably foreshadowing, to be honest, but again, I'm not surprised. And I should be tired, I should be sleepy at night. As I have been. I've been sticking to a routine as well, which is the crazier thing. I've been trying to get off at 11 on my computer, get off of the computer, go to bed, read for about 30 minutes to an hour, depends on how sleepy I am, and just go to bed. And admittedly, last night I couldn't do it, which maybe is a bit of proof, but the other 2 nights I did read, and I think I got better sleep. I can't be too sure. Again, it's such a big fucking struggle. I sometimes can't help staying up because I get really sort of irritated by things. I sort of have to do things like, you know, I watch like Midwest crime and safety videos and stuff, and that does bother me at night as well. It's one of those things that just goes on my mind. And I don't really have any way around that, and like intrusive thoughts win again. I don't have a way to focus, and it's where I think I would really benefit from being able to have like a projector, for example, even like a projector screen. It's actually very possible to have that here, actually. But yeah, I don't know what to do. Again, I'm so tired of this shit. I really need to get this on the wraps because I am struggling. It's certainly affected my videos as well. I noticed that. Certainly slowed down when it comes to topics. I've slowed down when it comes to the funny moments and stuff and the wit and stuff, whatever I have. It takes me a while to wake up. So that does impact things quite a bit. Yeah. I don't really know what else to add. Again, it's just so fucking tiring and annoying. I really do need to see change here. I don't know what can help really, other than, you know, moving places to a better place, being able to get away from this shit. Oh, I literally tried without the noise cancelling last night, and I could still hear fucking planes. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why there's a flight path over this fucking place. There never used to be. So I'm struggling from that too. I don't know what's going on. I don't even know the nearest airport. So again, I don't know. So I just need to find a way around this and get this under wraps, as I said. Anyway, I shall move on. Well, this is a frustrating thing. I watched a video by Cerimon, I think that's the name, I could go wrong maybe. It's about TF2 and its embarrassing thing. Its embarrassments, rather. And it really highlights how outdated TF2 is for today, because, you know, back when I was a kid and I was playing in about 2010, I believe, I think that was when I first got it. It was a journey in itself, and trying to get it optimal in the gameplay, or graphic sense rather, was difficult enough, but then you had the gameplay tweaks, and that's where things obviously got a bit weirder, and after the Gunmetal update they made a lot of changes. Eventually they added useful things like interacting with the scoreboard to mute someone, which is really good, because frankly you needed that. When there was spam, when there was offensive players and stuff, just so many necessary things were added in that update. Admittedly, it also lost a few great things. But as this Cerimon video highlights, for a new player it's not good. It is one of the least optimised games and one of the least accessible games out there. And this is something I wouldn't even know because I made my settings changes years ago. Like, speaking like 10 years ago, which is insane to think about. But that's how long ago it was. That's how long ago I was playing TF2. And even then there's like hard stuff that I'd install and whatever to make it more playable. And even the hit scan stuff, or hit scan or hit sound or whatever. That was its entire thing. And also mods that you install every now and then, which sadly only worked on the community servers for some reason, which is annoying. Because some were actually useful, like being able to see a no entry thing, being able to look like a furry. You know, they're very useful mods out there. But literally, TF2 is falling from grace once again, as if the bot issues, which apparently are back, weren't bad enough. And yeah, it really shows how Valve's strategy of having developers work on what they want is all well and good for developers, but they need to incentivize them to work on TF2. They need to get it to work. I think the best solution is for a game that's losing players, losing revenue, and also potentially just losing popularity as a whole in the zeitgeist. They need to have bounties where they get employees working on it ASAP to make some urgent fixes and whatever needs to happen. And I briefly remember something else before. I swear someone was making a Source 2 version of TF2, which is like a more up-to-date version, more optimised and stuff. And I swear Valve cease and desisted it. Why? The thing is, they're doing the job that you're not doing. So what even is the fucking problem? It makes no sense. Because I don't think it even breaches a copyright issue other than the engines, but even then, you're not doing this job, so what the fuck even is the point? If I was a lawmaker, I'd start enforcing laws that allowed people to build on certain things within sort of an agreement sort of thing. So, you know, if they go to Valve saying, okay, we're going to make a TF2 Source 2 version just for players who want it more optimised and stuff, then obviously it'll be different sort of servers and whatever. But, you know, as long as there's like an agreement or an acknowledgement of that, and they can also spread revenue if they decide to sell it, like share revenue, I think that's good. That inspires good like practices as a corporation, and that will also bring money. You know, what the hell would, for example, Dota be? Because this is ironic actually, because Dota was apparently built on the Warcraft engine. I expect not many people know that, but from what I've heard, it's built on either the Warcraft engine or StarCraft, maybe. Both were built on it, maybe. But that's why it ended up being so popular. It was based on World of Warcraft, and the engine itself was. So that's why it ended up, not World of Warcraft, Warcraft, different things. Because Warcraft is actually a real-time strategy game. But again, what would Valve be without that? It's sort of hypocritical to do these cease and desist when they themselves have stolen property from another company and obviously profited off it massively. And I'm pretty sure there was a lawsuit about it even just like quite a few years ago now. I don't know what happened about it, if that did happen. Again, I could be imagining things. You know, sleep deprivation does that to you. Yeah, I just don't know what to do anymore. TF2 is definitely not as popular as it used to be, and it's probably never going to be the same. But I would argue that something needs to change in the game itself, and I've said this since I started playing it again, like what, 2-3 years ago maybe. But I've literally been calling it out, and again, I've been ignored along with the community, and we've actually had the hashtag SaveTF2, which people seem to have abandoned as well, which is bizarre, because you weren't supposed to buy anything, and then people immediately start buying. Okay, you know, if this is how protests work now, then I guess good luck. You're not actually protesters, you're fucking hypocrites. Absolute morons. Like, yeah, they've got an Aurora Borealis unusual effect in the recent patch. Who the fuck cares? It has no value when there are no fucking players. I mean, there are no players enjoying it. And the game itself is unoptimised. Again, it's just so hypocritical, and nobody seems to call this out enough. So it genuinely needs calling out. But this shit is why it's so tiring, and why they keep getting away with it, is literally the profit that they make from these lazy ass decisions. They just look at a thing in the community, say, yeah, that's good, and then, release it as is. They don't moderate it. I remember maps being a problem as well, because maps were having bugs on it which could be found easily with a proper bug test. As well as someone actually understood how to make maps, and seemingly a lot of these new map makers didn't know, and they were unfortunately game-breaking exploits. And that caused so many issues. And it's caused so many disruptions as well, because people can't actually play the game. Valve didn't really oversee that. They weren't bug testing or anything. And on top of that, players had to pay the price. They had to keep jumping servers the moment someone bugged out the map and spawn count them. It's just ridiculous. And I have knowledge of map making because I used to edit maps. And the way to do it is quite easy. It's like triggers that you can put in place to stop enemy teams from getting in or getting around places, and even then you got these collisions that you can add to various things and stop, and like no build areas as well. Just basic things that you can add to stop this shit. Yeah, they can't even do that. And that's why there are so many fucking problems. You have like non-map makers reviewing these maps, and they're not even pointing out this shit. Which of course they won't point out if they don't know how maps work. Seeing a cute map that's like on a beach or something, like sure, yeah, it may look nice, but it's not gonna be bug tested or anything. And it could even be the same with cosmetics. Like they could hide things in that. And I remember this controversy with one of the Christmas maps actually. It's like a nucleus one that's turned into a wall, I think. Not nucleus, turbine, that was it. And people were mad because one of the names of the people on the doors was like trans R rights or something. It's just like a very subtle reference to obviously trans rights. And people threw a fucking fit over that. It's just so fucking petty, and this is the problem with this community too, there's no policing. So shit like this bigotry just gets away with it, and you also have people named like Nigger Killer. Yeah, sue me. But you have literally people named like that. And Valve do nothing. They have it on like conscientious objectors. They have porn on conscientious objectors. And Valve does nothing. Like, there's such a lack of moderation that I literally think Valve could be sued for something like illegal trading of like things like, child pornography and stuff, because I think that literally happens. But Valve are in so much trouble, and I sort of pointed this out a few months ago. There are so many loopholes that TF2 has because of the lack of moderation. And that just creates so many fucking controversies just waiting to happen. So many news stories, and then Valve's just going to lose its community and goodwill. Because they don't do anything. If anything, you should be reviewing every single conscientious objective image out there, including chat logs, scanning them, figuring out what the fuck these weirdos are all saying on there, and just figure out what the hell's going on before it even becomes a big legal issue, which it will. It's going to creep up on them, and they're going to lose a lot of fucking money and goodwill. So these aren't the only issues. Valve's laziness, and admittedly they can make the right decisions as much as they want outside of the game, but this laziness is pure and simple corrupt. You need to change. And this is my formal warning to Valve. I'm not a legal person. I'm a TF2 player, or was rather. And I have to tell you that you're in so much trouble. You're in this deep because there are so many fucking things wrong with the game. So many things that can go and have gone wrong. As if the bot issues weren't bad enough. And the outdated engine. Again, you've been warned. You can't say that I didn't tell you so. Like, literally, this is happening right before us. There's so many fucking problems. And yeah, they're definitely liable to be sued. It wouldn't surprise me. There's definitely a place here for like a class action lawsuit. Wherever you can get that. Because at this point, it'd be the only thing that wakes them up. As if the gambling problems weren't bad enough in the game, which I've already complained about. It's a very outdated tactic. Like, the way that loot crates are handled is just shit. Like, I can't understand it. Loot crates are just garbage in TF2. They don't offer anything. Just a chance at something big, but that's it. There is nothing else. It's not even generous. Like, it's here, like an Overwatch loot box where you do at least get something else or even credits to pay towards it. The TF2, that's it. You waste your money, that's it, it's gone. If you didn't get anything, tough shit. If you didn't get anything, you have to wait a few weeks to sell it or trade it. Like, great. So it's already like really bad as a system. It's just so outdated and it is blatant gambling and corruption. I think the right thing for Valve to do here is to modernise the game and moderate it. 2 M's, I guess, modernise, moderate. So yeah, I don't really know what else to add, and obviously I'm not asking for characters to change models or even there to be like femme scouts and femme pirate. Wait, we don't talk about pirates gender, but even like femme heavies or something. We don't need those sort of changes. We just want a game that's up to date and modernised. And even then, like, many trans people don't even care that there isn't like LGBTQ plus characters in this, or even just LGBTQ people don't care about this, because it's still a decent game aside. So it's not about modernising it for the audiences, it's modernising it for accessibility. So that people who are introduced to it can have fun, and then moderating it so people can be tolerant. And people can be tolerable. And what else needs to be said? And also it goes for the entire Steam platform as well. Like, Jesus, if you name yourself, again that name I said earlier, on like PSN or Xbox, you'll be fucking called out, and you'll probably be banned if you tried to bypass it as well. But on Steam, it's like, no, you're all a customer, even if you hate black people, even if you hate women. Which is not a good outlook. And yeah, people say like, oh, woke, yuck. Who cares? Like, the thing is, woke culture is what makes these games, including Valve games as far as I'm aware, it's what makes everything work. So it isn't really an issue that people make it out to be, or rather snowflakes make it out to be. Again, this is why we need change. That's why it can be a good thing. I'm not sure what CS2 has done exactly, but I imagine they've probably done some moderation, because it's probably less toxic than TF2. Yeah, I imagine it's also probably less toxic, but for some reason I was thinking Race played a role in it, but actually Demo Man is black, so I don't know. It's also kind of ironic that racists will play that, knowing the Demo Man is black. And also it's not even like a stereotype, which is the crazier thing. Like, Demo Man is such a unique character. Like, Scottish black guy, I don't know if that is a stereotype to be fair, but I don't know if I've ever seen a character like him. Unless it's just a reference to something else, like, maybe, I swear, was there a black Scottish guy in They Live? I can't remember. But yeah, I'm probably misremembering things. Again, thanks, sleep deprivation. Yeah, I ain't got much else to say. Again, Valve's on the downfall, I think. Not just obviously the lack of modernisation, it's just everything that's going on. Moderation, sure. You know, there's just going to be a lot more problems that come off this. Valve are definitely in deep legal trouble. So they need to get this sorted as soon as possible, and in fact I'm going to comment on determined video about this, I think, because it's important. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on. Well, it's been a while since I talked about this, because there just hasn't really been much happening about it. Because there's nothing good, and I try to report on good news, although this kind of counts in a way, but it's not what you think, unfortunately. Unfortunately, it doesn't change the situation. I'm of course talking about Israel versus Palestine. But it's a thought that I had, and it was in thinking about how to respond to someone who doesn't think Palestinians are worthy of life for some reason. And I think when it comes to like criminalising, for some reason, babies and children, the most obvious answer and the most moral thing to do in those situations isn't to fucking kill them. If we did that in our society, unfortunately it does happen at times, it depends on the situations, but if that happens, people would be outraged, naturally, and that's why there is outrage anyway. But the argument that I've been missing, and that other people have been missing for that matter, is that you're supposed to rescue children from these terrible situations. Israel has been doing the opposite. They've been blaming the children, posing them as actual terrorists rather than victims of what could be a terrorist state. Instead of rescuing them, they fucking kidnap, murder and rape them. Like, what the fuck? How is that even moral? And that's an argument you can't really just argue in favour of. Like, why are Israel so corrupt when it comes to this? Because I try to find reasons to agree with whoever it is on the offensive here. But there isn't anything, and the UN even says that Israel are guilty, that there is a warrant out for, well, Netanyahu. And that's the reality. But you don't fucking murder children for being victims of something horrific like this. That's just not how it works. You look at the Ukraine versus Russia war, they're not fucking targeting children. In fact, they don't even target Russians. And that really sets them apart from, I mean Russian people, that sets them apart from everyone else. And this really shows the issue here, it shows who the good people are. The same way it shows it in, well, Palestine versus Israel, and unfortunately the good people are admittedly the Islamic people, the people who believe in Islam, whether or not that's by choice or just by birth, like, you never know, it's different reasons. But regardless of why they believe it or how, Israel are always going to be in the wrong. So they're never going to have a valid argument in favour of themselves. And every time they seem to push it off, and I saw something briefly, didn't see the whole thing, but Zach Polanski was mentioning it, there's like this board of Jewish people, I think, and everything Israel is doing is actually serving to harm Jewish people, and even put people like Zach Polanski in danger because of this shit. Because of Israel conflating itself with the religion, which it is not. It can't be associated with it, because by virtue of being a country, you are just a country. Like, shocker. But there are countries out there that literally believe in Islam, and so, again, there just isn't a valid argument here. There is nothing. It genuinely feels like they've not put any thought into this. Same with people who try to defend Israel against this sort of shit. Like, again, you're not thinking. You're not applying any sort of critical thought, you're not even trying to change minds here. So as a result, you always fail. You fail to make an argument that's effective to convince an unbiased person, and you just blame people for yourself being wrong, which is a common tactic at this point. It doesn't surprise me, but it's so fucking dumb. What do I even need to say to answer this? Because it is absurd. this is exactly the issue. This is why we can't have discussions and why we can't even have nice things. It's that amount of dishonesty and that amount of corruption that really plagues it all. That's the thing that really makes this very transparent and just unethical. It's just corruption from wherever else it's coming from. Like, in Israel it comes from the war general and I believe the president. Israel was just there anyway, isn't it? It's been a while since I've thought about this, so I can't remember. Yeah, there's also that person called like Ben Guyver, who is just not a nice person from the outset. Doesn't seem to give a shit about anyone, about well-being or anything, and is happy to abuse and apparently rape non-Palestinian people, which is again very immoral, and it makes you wonder whose side he's actually on here, because it's clearly not Jewish people, it's clearly not Israel. It's just fucking corrupt and evil. It's on the side of evil. It's ridiculous. Yeah, like again, I don't have much else to answer this because this is the issue. I've called it out many times now. I've called it out with the Global Summit Flotilla. If people are willing to go there and die to feed some people, let them. But the thing is, they weren't even going to risk that. They're already intercepted, and if they weren't guilty people, then surely you would have minded. Like, so you would have been, oh, they're all terrorists as well. But they even called the flotillas like terroristic and stuff, and part of Hamas, even though they weren't even carrying weapons, they weren't even carrying an ideology. It's just wanting to see that humanitarian aid makes it to a very broken, poor country now. Yeah, nobody can even provide an argument against them. They couldn't even explain what the problem with the flotillas were. Which again gets it to the point here. And this is the thing, I look out for the truth of these things. I could say Hamas is bad, objectively. But the problem is, what's being done about it is not the right way to do it. We have many foreign criminals in other places, many religious criminals in other countries, doing stuff like this, if not worse, than Hamas, and we don't go to war with them. The reason why? Because you can't stop everyone. But what Israel seems to think is they've deluded themselves into thinking they can get rid of an entire population just by using weaponry from other places, because they're so advanced, and they think they can repurpose the place to sell it. It tells you all you need to know, doesn't it? And that's the fact of the matter. They're not here to actually serve a purpose, like get rid of something like, for example, ISIS, which I haven't heard about in a long time, but it was a thing a while ago. They're famous for the beheadings and stuff they did. Some people were unfortunately caught up in that. And I get killing them. I get murdering them and stuff. Except for obviously the people who didn't want to be part of it, like maybe there was women and children involved who didn't want to be. Even some men, to be fair. But the point is, why are you targeting people who are unarmed, who don't have anything? It makes zero sense. It's a failed justification. It's definitely what I'm going to call it now. So they still don't have any point. So it still doesn't work. What else do I even need to say here? Just a ridiculous amount of issues and bullshit. Anyway, I need to move on, I think. Yeah. So, I had a scary realisation, and I keep forgetting about this as a thing, as a consequence of climate change. But it's about wildfires, and this obviously is a darker topic because it kills a lot of animals, it kills the ecosystem, and it can kill people as well. And yeah, honestly, that aspect does worry me because I don't exactly live in an area that's, I'd say, urban. Because I say like urban areas are probably safer for like wildfires. Still not perfect though. But again, it's one of those things. This climate change shit is just real. You can't ignore it. And I think because of that, we can't take any risks. And actually, that was one of the things I was going to do. I was just remember I need stuff from Matt. But my God, we're just in unprecedented times again, as if what happened before COVID wasn't bad enough. What do I even call this? Like, it's such a bizarre situation. As in, like, need non-slip. So trying to find a new rug. I don't really know how to prepare for this exactly. It's such a worrying case because I don't exactly know how to get around this shit. It is very concerning to me. And I need to address these issues. Obviously, if I need to flee somewhere, I need to basically grab things and go. But I can't be wasting too much time, so I guess there's a point to making a grab list or something, grab and run, when it comes to just getting away from this shit, getting away from wildfire as well, evacuating. I think obviously in that list would be like the most expensive things, but it depends on how much I can take really. I suppose the priority would actually be my computer, but then there'd be like guitars. Then I'm trying to think of the other things that's pretty important. I can't remember. This is not coming to mind. Probably games consoles. But again, this just really complicates things a bit. It's weird. Like, it's just such a frustrating scenario. And yeah, I don't like this one bit, to be honest. Again, it just really makes everything more complicated than it needs to be. And again, responsible for it is climate change. We can't fucking ignore this. And I think people would be stupid to ignore it. It's why I find it kind of like similar to psychopathic behaviour. I think anyone denying that this is real, that climate change is not real also, is the same as a criminal. Should be tried as a criminal too. That's just the fact of it. We cannot ignore this crap. Because this is gonna fuck us up. This is gonna change our lives for the worse. And not to mention, among these issues, there's also gonna be something like evacuations like en masse, and then needing to find homes en masse. So again, we're in a scenario which feels pretty inescapable and feels pretty difficult to address because of this. Because there's like a cry for addressing these issues and an absolute necessity to address them ASAP. And also how much damage it would do. In fact, I've just got finished watching a bit of footage from China of a tornado, and these people have no clue how to fucking be safe during a tornado, which is kind of nuts. But I think a kid was sadly like caught up in it or something, so I don't know if anyone was like injured or killed, but it's quite a fucking dark scenario if someone left their kid out there somehow and never bothered to go back for them or something. I don't know. But it's just so dangerous, and we're seeing the absolute consequence of what can happen here, where everything just starts to go wrong because we fucked it to a point where it's gonna go wrong. Again, this is what I mean with climate change. If people deny it, they're on the same brand as psychopaths, same road as psychopaths, same mentality as psychopaths. They actively engage in this behaviour and fuck everyone up because of it. They're encouraging it. Again, this is sort of the dark scenario we get into. It does feel like there is an apocalypse upon us, to a certain extent. As I said, where I am, the sea levels aren't going to hit me until about 10 meters, but the amount they're climbing at the moment is like, Jesus, like what the fuck? I'm pretty sure I've read it somewhere. How high are the sea levels climbing each year? Because this is the measurement. So I can't control that. So where's coffers come from? Okay, what the fuck is National Geographic doing? Just want to look for a stat. No. Again, not helping. The fuck is wrong with some of these results? They don't open the thing. Let's see, let's do a chart. It's 2020. Inches. Okay, that doesn't seem right, because that seems a lot bigger than it actually is. It's all for 2024, so... sea level from millimeters up to 105 in 2024. What's that? 110? That's literally 10 centimeters. That's actually pretty huge. But then you can imagine what it's going to be like now with obviously the ice caps properly melting. Because of this garbage, because of climate change caused by human actions and inactions for that matter. Because we had a chance to do something, but many ignored it. And unfortunately China's the worst offender, but it's kind of ironic that they're having to pay the price now. What we've seen so far. Again, we're experiencing such unusual behaviours, and it's not just nature's behaviours, humanity's. Jesus, I remember watching a safety video recently, maybe yesterday actually. It's only 8 days old and it's like a fucking mass murder case. And they seem quite more frequent now. Like crime is on the low, but that doesn't mean the crimes aren't going to be bad. If anything, it means that there's been a lack of anything being done, it seems. That to me is what seems to be happening, and we're going to see that more often. There's going to be more kidnappings, we're going to see more murders and abuses, more tortures, more arsons, more everything. It's just going to get worse from here, because of the state of the world that people will put us in. And one of my favourite pastimes will be, amidst this crisis, is seeing the people who voted these idiots in, like Trump, like Reform and Restore, paying the consequences. They'll have to face them. And they're the ones who get affected by it as well. Which is absolutely fucking ridiculous. But I shouldn't be caught up in that, because it's not my responsibility. It's all the way I view politics is it should never be able to affect people's livelihoods or even their basic rights. At most, it should be able to help them, and that's what I think it's there for. But people don't take advantage of that and instead do this shit. They give into climate denial, they give into such bullshit like that, and it does not help things at all. So we end up being sort of screwed as a result. It's just amazing amounts of bullshit again. And no escape, obviously, from this, which itself is quite concerning. Yeah, also people seem to think as well that there's a solution, but I've read somewhere before that there's essentially we're in the point of no return. This is how summers are going to be, this is how weather conditions are going to be. We're seeing the worst of it, and humanity is on its way out. And apparently scientists have already said, they can't scientists or meteorologists, I think maybe, they've already said we're in uncharted territories now. The temperature's gone up way farther than it should have been. And we've been warned about this many times, by the way. And again, we're paying the consequence. Well, because people just wanted a fucking McDonald's. Like, are you kidding me? This is kind of why I hate being an activist sometimes, why I hate doing activism, and why I haven't done any anyway. You just get bombarded with hatred and stupid fucking excuses. And people have clutched onto whatever excuse they can find, whether it's like a billionaire or not who's saying it. Which a lot of the times they used, by the way, when it came to animal agriculture, it was billionaire garbage, billionaire slop, rather, and what the lobby had done. And off with their heads. But yeah, it's fucking ridiculous that people coddle to that sort of mentality and decided to be defensive about it rather than honest about it, which is why we're in this situation anyway. You think, oh, society behaviour normal. Slavery was normal, by the way. Rape was normal, by the way. Marrying children was normal, by the way. Like, what the fuck are you on about? It's never been a dictation of what's normal based on what society does. It's always been dictated by ethics and how that impacts someone or impacts the rest of the world. This is why we even exist. Being able to have our phones, being able to have these quote-unquote luxuries, if you can even call them that anymore. But now we're like pro-consumer and everything's intertwined in some way and corrupt in others. In many ways it's corrupt anyway. Again, we're just kind of fucking screwed. So again, we're just not in the best scenario here. We've been fucked over by stupidity and selfishness again. This will keep happening so long as people keep doing that. I don't care if you drive a fucking fossil fuel car if you don't like cyclists. You're the fucking problem, dickhead. You're the one who's actually polluting the air, causing me problems as well, personally, because I suffer with air pollution problems. But again, this is the world that you sort of bring upon yourself. You reap what you sow. You brought it upon yourselves. So it's just ridiculous. Yeah, I don't really know what else to add, to be honest. I've talked about everything, and unfortunately I think I've said a lot on this podcast, which, yeah, I have. So that's going to be the end of this podcast, which is unfortunate. Yeah, I think we're entirely fucked, it seems, the way it currently stands. I don't really see a way out of this, to be honest, and again, these concerns are just happening as a result. Again, I couldn't even exercise today because it's just too warm, and yet it's one of the cooler days, which is not a good sign. And you know, when you can't exercise, you get fat. You get fat, you get a higher heart rate. What's next? A heart attack? Probably. So I've got stress, and I'm still waiting for a fucking call about my sleep issues. Because I also can't determine where that comes from, either. Like, everything's just fucking me over. People sometimes wonder, like, why the fuck am I so defensive about these things? Why do I care? Why do I give a shit if the world is ending? Because it's fucking killing me, idiot. It's fucking killing everyone else. It's killing animals. It's abusing animals. It's being cruel to animals. What do you fucking mean, why do I care? Why don't you care? Just absolutely fucking stupid. I'm not even a smart person, or I realise this. It shows how dumb people are. How much dumber than me do you need to be to fucking ignore this? Like, what? Just, again, in shock. It's pretty much shell shocks, I think. So I just have no clue what's going on and why this is even happening. How it could even happen, even. So, yeah. Anyway, thanks for listening, I suppose. See you on next time, perhaps.